forces are surging into the city. We need you here now.
Hold on, Tails. I'm on my way.
From its opening stage, Sonic Forces displays a number of issues that are emblematic of the journey ahead. Its insistent tutorial messages interrupt your initial sprint down a winding road. The cinematic transition sequences that take you from one path to the next renders you an observer, not an active participant. And right as you're about to settle into the glee of your mad dash forward, the stage ends. Even Sonic Forces' most entertaining moments come with caveats.
Is everyone okay?
We are thanks to you. Cutting it kind of close though, pal.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much how I roll. Okay, let's finish this, Eggman.
It will be your finish, Sonic. Behold the power of my ultimate masterpiece!
The game's story once again sees Sonic getting involved in a battle against Dr. Eggman, who's joined by a powerful entity known as Infinite. To combat the threat, a ragtag group of freedom fighters consisting of Sonic, a younger version of himself, most of the supporting cast, and a new character you personally create, simply named the Rookie, come together.
Here, kid, take this. We're depending on you.
While the story's stakes provide an interesting power shift where Dr. Eggman has the advantage thanks to Infinite, it falls short of being interesting or impactful. It's only in Sonic Forces' levity where it manages to be somewhat entertaining, turning to puns or brief comedic situations to elicit a snicker, but all too infrequently.
But what's that I smell? You reek of fear. Glad to see I left an impression.
That's not fear. I ran all the way over here.
Throughout your adventure, you'll switch back and forth between playing as either modern Sonic, classic Sonic, or your custom character. The biggest addition to the formula is your custom character, who sports special weapons called Wispons that grant unique offensive and movement abilities. All three characters play distinctly from one another, and there are fleeting thrills to be had in plowing through robots with a speed boost or using a homing attack on a series of flying creatures to quickly clear a path towards the finish line. However, the excitement of these high-speed escapades are held back by clunky platforming and unwieldy movement. During platforming and speed sequences, you frequently plummet down bottomless pits due to how abruptly your character builds up speed before a jump, or how a road's bumpers aren't made clear. While death is to be expected, the level design repeatedly miscommunicates the placement of oncoming hazards and the timing required to avoid them.
No way I'm sticking around here.
Admittedly, practice means you inevitably develop the reflexes demanded of you over time, but even with experience, the game's inconsistencies mean you'll often end up stuck on a ramp mid-run or make a double jump that simply doesn't work the way you want. The game also does a poor job of teaching you the flow of its design, instead relying on multiple frustrating and unfair deaths to educate you on the intricacies of a stage's pacing. There's a pervading sense of monotony across Sonic Forces' 7 unremarkable worlds. Nearly all the obstacles you encounter are rehashes of concepts and mechanics from previous games. A set piece sometimes breaks up the pace, but these encounters usually boil down to simplistic QuickTime events that make you feel passive to the action happening on screen rather than an active participant. It also doesn't help that stages are also incredibly short, typically clocking in at 2.5 minutes. With cutscenes before and after each stage, you can't help but wish there was a little more ground to cover before reaching the finish line. Your custom character's Wispons add some variety to the mechanics, but even those are limited, as there are only a couple that offer practical benefits. For instance, the Lightning Wispon allows you to zip through a line of rings, often leading you to alternate routes in a stage. Out of the 7 Wispons available, you're likely to stick to using 1 or 2, as there's rarely any incentive to experiment once you've grown accustomed to how a couple work. In terms of performance, Sonic Forces runs smoothly at 60 frames per second on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The Switch version, however, runs at 30 frames per second and suffers from a downgrade in visuals comparatively while docked or undocked. It'd be fair to write Sonic Forces off as another weak entry in the series. Its numerous shortcomings make for an uneven, often frustrating gameplay experience. However, knowledge of its various flaws can make for a smoother, more gratifying second run through. In replaying for S ranks, it's possible to use your accumulated knowledge of a stage's hazards and its most illogical pitfalls to better your experiences. But speedrunning or not, Sonic Forces' ill-designed stages and poor handling are still major obstacles that detract from your time spent playing.
How absurd! What can that rival do with an all-out attack? I'll smash them to smithereens!
For years, the Sonic series has come up short in its 3D games. It wasn't until Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations that the series was able to grasp a semblance of quality that could change the perception of the series for the better. Sonic Forces ultimately fails to advance the mechanics of previously successful 3D Sonic games, or present them in their best light. A mediocre platformer at best, Sonic Forces simply deepens long-held stereotypes against Sega's beloved Blue Blur.
Running out of time here, Tails!